Thank you. And I have some appreciation I want to express, but first I want to thank all of you for hanging in there. I am all that stands between you and a break. So thank you. Thank you. But good afternoon. It's wonderful to be here. I want to thank Reverend Sharpton for organizing this incredible convention. It's an honor to share a stage with leaders like Vice President Harris, like Ambassador Rice. It is amazing to be here because, you know, the National Action Network Board of Directors brings together important voices from across the country, including New Jersey's very own Pastor Steffi Bartley and Reverend David Jefferson. And I want to thank them for their leadership to our community. The creation of the National Action Network more than 30 years ago filled a void in our country and activated a generation of Americans to get engaged and serve their communities. Thanks to the leadership of Reverend Sharpton, one of the nation's great civil rights leaders, the National Action Network continues to play a pivotal role in shaping the national conversation around justice and providing the tools for real progress. You know, we are gathering here today in a time when our nation needs nothing less than bold, thoughtful, collective action necessary to tackle the existential problems that are testing us. And one such problem is the sickening prevalence and unrelenting threat of gun violence. As a mother of 4 kids, 2 girls, 2 boys, ages 11 through 17, this issue keeps me up at night. The #1 killer of children is guns. Not cancer, not car accidents, guns. And when we break down that statistic even further, it's more devastating. According to the Pew Research Center in 2021, Black children were the victims of 46% of all youth gun deaths, despite making up only 14% of the under 18 population. And our nation is almost numb to these tragedies. Before we can properly mourn the losses at one shooting, breaking news hits again. Another attack, another state. Going to school or to the bank or to the supermarket or a concert should not be a death sentence in this country. And the reality is even greater than the mass shootings. There are also tragedies happening every day, where children are injured or killed simply walking down the street in their communities, hit by stray bullets as unintended victims, or using a firearm to die by suicide in a nation plagued by a mental health crisis among our children. Those who oppose gun safety reforms, those beholden to the gun lobby and special interests, want us to believe that legislation won't work, but that is categorically false. I can tell you, in my home state of New Jersey, we have some of the best gun safety laws in this nation. And as around the country, gun violence is going up 35%, in New Jersey, the most densely populated state in the nation, it is down 10%. And there have been movements across the country by moms and kids and people who've lost loved ones to gun violence. And the majority of Americans want to see action, background checks, waiting periods, cracking down on trafficking, and banning assault weapons. And in Tennessee, and to paraphrase Nina Simone, everybody knows about Tennessee, goddamn. In Tennessee, we see a fearlessness of 3 legislators willing to stand up and address this. And the response from Tennessee Republicans is an incredibly racist affront to our democratic institutions and demonstrates clearly what those who oppose progress in this country truly want. The far right wants to shut out the voices of people who think and look differently than they do. They want to erase the history of this nation and the tactics we've always taken to build a more perfect union. They want power rather than to serve the people and uphold our values. We're not only facing those who would erase our democratic institutions, but in acts that often go hand in hand with attempts to undermine democracy, we are seeing those who are working to erase or rewrite our very history. Justin Pearson's words, right before the Tennessee House voted to expel him, harken back to the very foundations of our nation. He chastised the Tennessee legislature, saying that, quote, "In a country that was built on protest, you who celebrate July 4th, 1776, pop fireworks and eat hot dogs, you say to protest is wrong." Protest is at the very heart of being American. Recognizing flaws and putting the energy and time behind fighting to right those wrongs is how this country was founded. It was how slavery was ended. It was how the right to vote was won. It was how marriage equality became the right of the land, and it is, I dearly hope, the way we will get back women's reproductive freedom. And as we look to a future where all of our nation's children succeed, how can we not learn about both the historic successes and the failures in this country? How can we hope to have a brighter future if we ignore the lessons of the past? What part of the truth do they fear? Probably the fact that history remembers who was right and who was wrong. And their inability to act to better our nation mirrors those who stood in the way of progress in generations past. You know, when I began my naval career at age 18, I signed up for a country that was not perfect, but one whose values and ideals I believe in deeply. I joined the Navy to fight for truth and justice all around the world, and I joined Congress to continue that fight here at home. Anything less, to me, is a betrayal. It's a betrayal of those who fought and died for our rights and our freedoms. It's a betrayal of our democracy and the values enshrined in our Constitution. But most of all, and in my mind, worst of all, it's a betrayal of our children and the amazing future we could bequeath to them. So in order to ensure the future that all of us here envision, we have to work endlessly to protect the vote from the local to the federal level. We need to elect thoughtful people at school boards and in the halls of Congress. We have to elect legislators and promote judges who will care more about protecting civil rights and children than the gun lobby and special interest. So as a Congresswoman and as a mom, that internal balance that I'm always seeking is between my optimism and my deep concerns about where the nation might be heading. But as I look around this room, and thanks for sticking with me, as I look around this room, the worries ease. Because I know there are more of us who want to see our country succeed than those who want to drag us back in time. And we the majority, we will not back down in our fight to see a more perfect union. So let me finish where I started, by thanking Reverend Sharpton and the National Action Network for all that you do in the face of great trials to lead our nation, activate her people, and work for a bright future for every single child in America. Thank you.